Yeah, whenever you're ready. Just let me-
We are live on YouTube and I will start recording.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. And I would like to call the Cities Association of Santa Clara County Executive Committee meeting to order. It's a special meeting. I would like to thank Sunnyvale, especially for accommodating us. We had to move this meeting to today because the treasurer had informed us 4 months ahead of time. We couldn't meet yesterday and we need the treasurer. This is budget time. And Saratoga has an off Friday. So once again, big thanks to Sunnyvale for accommodating us here. And also at the same time, I'll include regrets from Saratoga's acting city manager. She had a personal appointment. Otherwise, she would have shown up in spite of a day off. Okay, with that, let's get started with the roll call.
Okay.
Charlie,
Tina Walia,
present.
J.R. Bruin, he'll be 5 minutes late. Elliot Scazola,
Here.
Barry Klein,
Present.
Rosemary Kamai.
Here.
With 4 present, we have quorum.
Okay, great.
And don't we have to say why,
Oh,
what Elliot is taking this meeting under?
Oh,
Yes.
yes. I don't, it's.
Is
Should
it
I read
on?
that? I can read
You
it.
probably should say, or Elliot should say.
Yeah, so just to be clear, it's not required, but we can certainly state for the record that Elliot, thankfully, is joining us from a remote location, and that location is identified as part of the meeting agenda notice, and it has been posted as remote location.
Thank you, Andrew. Sorry.
Thank you,
No
Andy.
problem.
Thanks. Okay, with that, let's get started with oral communications on non-agendized item. Do we have anyone online? I don't see a member of the public in the room.
No one on.
None online. Let's get started with the agenda. The first order of the day is agenda item A, Executive Committee meeting minutes from the January 8th, 2026 Executive Committee meeting. Do I have any recommendation for a change? Public comment?
No one online?
Okay. Close public comment, bring it back to the committee. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move to approve.
Second. Okay, moved by Klein, second by Kamei. Any comment? Seeing none? We have to do roll call vote. Can you
Okay.
please do that?
Yes. Tina Walia,
Aye.
Larry Klein,
Aye.
Rosemary Kamei,
Aye.
Elliot Scazola,
Aye.
and J.R. is still absent. So with 4, the motion passes.
Thank you. With that, we'll move on to item number B, which is the president's update. This is an informational item only, and a couple of things I would like to quickly share with everyone. Firstly, great news, the web.
Andrew, are you seeing the same screen I am with?
Yeah, I'll text Charlie right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
Ironically, we're both okay.
Yeah, right. Hey, we did it. We did it. We covered the legalities.
Let's have a
That's all
meeting.
that matters.
YouTube laptop.
I am muted.
Okay. Can you hear us, Andrew? And
Yeah, we can hear you, but we lost your video feed.
Oh, it's the video.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
exactly. But we do hear you, so you can proceed.
Did I?
yeah, go out until.
Sounds good. Do I have to pause us?
We've lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to have a brief recess while we address the issue?
We'll wait for a minute or so.
Okay.
IT is here. So just give us a moment.
Oh, there it is.
Very strange.
Oh, this way.
Yeah, that's good. It's whoever talks or moves.
Yeah.
Do you want me to put it on gallery view? Let me ask. Since I'm not controlling it.
No, it's fine.
It's
Sure.
fine, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're back on our end.
Good.
Okay, great.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So back to the update. Number one, the website update contract has been signed and Shally will give more details. The committee chaired by Klein has met and we will continue to work on the website update. The second item that I would like to share with all of you is that we are working on the summer event. And the good news is the location has been booked for both June 11th and December 10th.
I'll have to double check, but
Yeah.
it's the second Thursday.
Yeah, whatever the dates are, both are second Thursdays. The dates have been approved by the board. And the location has been booked in Saratoga at the Prospect Center. And we have started some prelim work on ideas. And Shally will continue working with Saratoga City Hall staff to make sure we are on time, on track. And the third information to share with everyone is that working with SBCE, the date for a forum has been moved to August 31. Those who were at the board meeting, February 12th board meeting, may recall that there was a little concern expressed by one of the board members of the date that had originally tentatively been scheduled. So I have
What's the
worked
date again?
August 31st. It's a Monday. It's a fifth Monday. There should be no council meeting. And I'm working with SVCE. I did work with Bay Area Air District Chair or Vice Chair?
Vice Chair.
Mayor Vicky Winker. She was caught by surprise by the earlier date that had come forward. So there was some communication that we have taken care of, and we are all on the same page, and we are making sure that the key stakeholders are informed. So that's the date, and I will be announcing that date at the March board meeting.
And this will also be on the board agenda. So the board authorized me to transfer $195,000 from business checking into our LAIF account. When I went to go do it, it seems that I am not an authorized user on the LAIF account. And up until now, I haven't had to move money, so I didn't actually look into it that hard. But anyway, so I called up the treasurer's office, and the information that I got is quite interesting. The LAIF account was opened up with a resolution dated March 13th, 2003. So they did send me a photo, literally a photo of that resolution. And apparently on the resolution, the only people who are authorized users who can sign any forms is the president, the first vice president, and the executive director. Obviously, neither of those three are, the people are not here. So it's not the position that's authorized to sign, it's the actual person. That makes sense. So,
Okay,
so basically I have a form and a resolution from LAIF that I would present at the board meeting, and then that's why it's on the agenda. So the board has to pass the resolution. I think we should have an updated resolution anyway, because we're now a JPA. And just authorize me to become one of the authorized users. Every January, when the position of well, whoever we can decide 3 different people to be authorized users. But since it turns over every January, we'll have to go back and submit these forms again. So we cannot, so one idea that we had was to close the current account or keep it open, but open a second account. And the folks at the state said you can't have 2 accounts open with the same name. So, so we can't do that.
Rosemary.
I'm just wondering, what is the reasoning behind not having the position? And you have to have a person? What is the?
They said that you have to have a
so
person.
I've had the same issue with nonprofits that they want actual, so the banks are wanting to look at your ID and the signature that goes along with it. And if for a position that changes every year, I've had multiple problems with a nonprofit that I was on the board of where we couldn't get access to the money for a good amount of time until the past president was out of the hospital and back in it's they don't do it on position, they do it on, so it's on person. So as long, but as as executive director, she would just be able to submit again.
Yeah.
But yeah, but we need to take
It's
we need to
just-
take a consent motion every year, right?
Yeah. It's just, unfortunate to have administration, like it's another administration thing you'd have to add on to. So that's,
And
we may want to think in the future if there are other alternatives for leave. I mean, I don't know, I'm just, not for today, but,
Yeah.
but it just seems so onerous.
So,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
So that's what I'm going to present to the board at the board meeting, and then that will be an action item to pass the resolution. And then I'll submit all the paperwork with the resolution to Leif, as well as getting a letter from the bank. I'll have that ready for the bank, so it'll be.
Yeah.
Well,
You may wanna look into, because it was a different type of organization previously when it was first open, whether or not that's an issue, since now we're a JPA.
So I
You may
did
as well,
ask.
yeah, get it all done.
So I did ask, and she said it has the same name.
Oh,
So I said, well, we're technically the city's associated with a joint powers agency, but I don't know, she wasn't impressed with that. So, but we probably should have an updated resolution, I think.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, any public comment? Seeing none, closing public, bringing it back to the committee. So we need to provide direction. I need a motion so that Shally can take it to the board. Do I have a motion, please? And for the record, let it be reflected that member J.R. Fruin walked in at 4:41 p.m.
so I move creating a resolution to list off our current executive president and first vice president as the appropriate signers on the account.
May I suggest a friendly amendment, adding the treasurer as well? Or no?
I think they only want 3.
I can double check that.
Double check. I
Yeah.
don't, most of these accounts for whatever, I don't know.
3 max, I see.
Normally it's 3. Anyway,
Okay,
And the executive director.
yes.
yes,
okay.
executive director
Plus,
first and second, president and first.
Okay, so the motion is to direct the executive director to create a resolution to bring before the board that lists the current president, first vice president, and executive directors as authorized signers on our Leif account.
Correct.
do I have a second?
Second,
Any discussion? Can we have roll call vote, please?
Elliot Scazola,
Aye.
J.R. Fruin,
Aye.
Rosemary Kamei,
aye.
Larry Klein,
Aye.
Tina Walia.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Wonderful. Let's move on to item D for David, which is the proposed fiscal year 2026-27 budget discussion. And the presentation is from the executive director.
So as you know, I typically don't write a staff report when I present this to the executive committee. But what I'm looking for today is a little bit of direction on how to present the budget, which the draft proposed budget and the budget report to the board. So bring it before the board in March as a first read. But I just want to make sure that nothing is ambiguous and just any kind of advice.
Questions?
Yeah.
Rosemary?
The only thing that, is sort of, kind of the question is, we continue to have more than enough, revenue to be able to cover expenses. And so you start creating this bigger and bigger and bigger. I know we're not going to increase dues, but the fact that we would have, an extra $42,000, you don't want to just let it sit there. And so there are 2 ways of trying to figure out. Either you reduce membership dues. I know it won't be very much, but there are going to be a budget issues this year. And it may not be sort of a bad idea to maybe reduce a little bit, right? Sort of across the board, to demonstrate that, hey, we're not gonna need this extra 40,000 or $42,000. And then we don't have to worry about, oh, we gotta move it to LAIF, why are we like saving this, right? So that's one scenario. The other scenario is, do we want to do more, right? But of course, if you do more, that means more of your time, more of everybody's time to do something else, like an event or whatever, something else other than whatever is planned. So I would like to see us this is the kind of year we have, and we have this overage that we would reduce a little bit so that we don't have such a big revenue excess at the end of the year, or we're planning on this big revenue excess. I don't know. How do others feel about it?
Other questions, or we'll roll
Yeah,
discussion in right here?
yeah,
So you're proposing reducing the
the fees,
the revenue or the
the membership.
membership dues for the year?
Yeah.
I would be okay with that. I would make it not ceremonial, but if we're going to do it, like, oh, make it 11,000 or 15,500, or it's like slightly less, slightly less, but not dramatically less. And for me, and I had other questions about the budget, so I'll just leave it at that. It's like rounding down to some degree, like a percentage off, would be conceivably something that I would be fine with. But as we found in the past, sometimes although we have insurance now and all that, and we have money in reserves that make things a lot safer than it used to be.
Other questions? While Larry's gone, I'll ask a very simple question. The staff report says we are accounting for $5,000 for both summer membership event as well as the winter event. But the table lists summer event ticket sales as 4,000, not 5.
So my question, and there is a discrepancy, thank you for pointing that out. But on further reflection, so we don't have as accurate year-over-year numbers for the summer event as we do for December. December, we always sell tickets. Summer, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. So that would be something that I would like advice or direction on, whether I should keep the summer membership event slightly less at 4,000 or make them both 5,000 in expected ticket sales.
Okay, and so Larry, my question was, the staff report says 5,000 for each summer and winter event, but the table lists 4,000 for the summer event and 5,000.
Oh, I didn't see the difference. Okay.
Yeah, so that was my question, and Shelley has responded that she's aware of that, and at some years we have ticket sales for the summer, sometimes we don't. And she's looking for direction on that.
Yeah.
One approach is, well, when we haven't had any ticket sales, then that money would come from the overall budget because there are expenses related to that. So going back to Larry's point earlier about just rounding off the dues to a little bit low, but not dramatically lower. That's one comment I have. But I went out of order with my question because you had stepped out of the room. So I'll bring it back to the committee first, Rosemary.
Yeah. So however we decide in terms of the dues have a way of calculating how much each, right? And we should remain consistent with that.
Okay.
Somehow, like we pay 55,000, and so if you round down, it is not much different on 55,000, right? So I think that whatever method we use to calculate it in the beginning should be, like similar, whatever. So the reduction should be consistent with how we calculate it so that it doesn't, oh, well, how come you got 1,000 and you got five, I don't want to have that kind of discussion, right? Because then that can. This or that or here or there, you start opening up too much. For that, we don't do it at all, right? We don't mess up what's working, right?
Mhm.
So, so I just throw that out there as if we're gonna do something, it should be consistent with the way we put it forward.
So
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
like to respond to that. Is that the previous acting executive director just immediately before me had come up with these figures that are the current, so we haven't raised membership dues. And so when I asked her for the formula, she didn't have a formula. And so I don't know how it was calculated.
So then
And
I would do a
so-
percentage increase.
And in 2023, when there was a new president, who's now supervisor Margaret Abikoga, she asked me to come up with a formula. I did a lot of research on other similar organizations to ours. And they use some combination of a base rate, a base amount, and a percentage of the population. So it's like two together. But we couldn't come up with the formula that kept the dues as low as they are now. So if you do some percentage population, some percentage base, it ends up being more expensive for some of the more populous cities.
And that's fine. What I'm saying is that, if you take the same format, we should take the format going up, the same format going down, because
Yes, yes.
because if you do, the rounding sometimes round to what, right?
Okay. So, but then I would suggest just a percentage decrease,
Yeah,
because San Jose already gets from when that was calculated,
Mhm.
San Jose got a big break because it was based upon population,
Mhm.
a base plus population. And it's like, oh, San Jose will be $95,000 or something of that nature. And so it was reduced accordingly. It's like, oh, we're a sixth of Sunnyvale's a sixth of your size, of San Jose size from a population standpoint. Or from, actually, no, it didn't work out that way. So but
But you see what I mean? It's sort
Yeah.
of like, it sort of starts opening the
Right.
this and the that, and so it should just be consistent with however it is.
Yes, Sunnyvale is 40,000 plus
Right.
something, and
Yeah.
San Jose is 55,000. So what I'm hearing is it's not directly proportional to the.
no, there was
Yeah.
small cities, mid-sized cities and
Yeah.
large cities. and
Yes.
I can't remember.
So am I
And the
hearing
percentage decreases.
1%, 2%, or whatever the
Yeah,
number she
whatever.
comes up with?
Yeah.
So closing in on 42,000, but not completely meeting 42,000.
Yeah.
Something like that. Is that what I'm hearing?
So when I rework this for the March board meeting, should I choose a percentage myself that the cumulative will add up to about 11,000 to 15,000?
I don't know if I go that high, but yeah. I don't know. I will let you two work out.
Yeah.
What,
It was your idea. What are you looking for?
Well, I mean, I just thought that, we're planning right now, according to this, $42,000 in overage, right?
Okay.
And the question for us is, do we really need that? And what is the best practice in terms of, hey, how much money do you need above budget to kind of like help the fluctuations in what you have here, right? And so, I don't know, it could be, it's just a number less than the 42, right?
How-
Because
How far lower would you suggest so that the committee can respond to it right now, roughly? From 42, would you like it to reduce to?
10K off?
What do we think? I think the question here is, what do we think is a healthy reserve? Because that's what it effectively creates.
Adding into the reserve.
what are your
Yeah.
monthly expenses generally?
Roughly about 18,000 a month.
Yeah, so if you have 18,000 left over or 20,000 even, to me, that seems like that's an extra cushion on top of the lake.
Oh, I see. So 1 month's worth of operating
Yeah,
expenses.
and that's something maybe we want to talk to Tim Kirby about. You know, what is
Mhm.
the best practice? Maybe it's 2 months. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it's half of that,
I would say 30K or 20K, but.
yeah. That sounds reasonable to me,
Yeah.
but I would, you know, check with Tim.
So check with Tim and maybe a suggestion I'm hearing is rather than 42K extra at the end of the year based on these numbers, we bring that down to about 30K. Is that what I'm hearing? Right?
20 or
20 or
30.
30.
20 or
30
30.
or 30. Okay, between 20 and 30. Okay. With Tim's input. Okay.
So the extra money is 20 to 30,000, not reduced by 20 to 30,000.
Correct.
Correct.
The remainder.
Yeah,
remember.
In the number, what is 42K today? Could be somewhere between 20 to 30 with Tim's input.
Okay.
That's what I'm hearing on this point. Other questions? Mary, you said you have other questions on the budget.
No, I'll come back.
Chair, questions? Elliot, questions on the budget?
No budget questions, thank you.
Okay,
So you talked about the summer event.
yes.
What were you saying?
The only thing we have achieved so far is made the booking for the location. It's Saratoga city-owned property, a little central for everyone. It's off Prospect Road. It's Prospect Center, good parking.
So from a ticket sales standpoint, how much money did we bring in last year on ticket sales? I thought summer event was free.
Last year, the summer event was,
Okay.
so we didn't send to, except to people who are not members of the Safety Association.
So is that what we want to do again this?
I'm just bringing it up, that what you have listed here,
Mhm.
for 2026, okay. Proposed for fiscal year 20, so 2020,
6 actual. Oh,
this is always the problem that,
Yeah.
this is
Budget.
the problem that the fiscal year ends after the summer event. So really your fiscal year 26
Hasn't happened.
hasn't happened.
correct.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So that means that we are planning on having some kind of ticket.
But we can always decide
Decide
not
not
to, because it was the same scenario 1 year ago and we decided not to. This is out of order, but touching upon it because it's a budget issue.
Right.
Based on the board priorities,
Yeah.
those items will come up twice more. But I can start the conversation here. Based on the board priorities approved at the last board meeting, the one clear number one priority was emergency preparedness, response, and recovery. And the second part was, and there are the 2 priorities, but the second key part was the board wants fewer priorities. They want more engagement and more clear deliverables for whatever the top 3 priorities are. And the first one is emergency, second is e-bikes, e-scooters, and the third is public safety combined with ALPRs. I know the word flock was used, but I insisted that day
Yeah.
it should be ALPRs. So there's a 3, but they want some kind of a study session within the 2-hour board meeting. Yes. Yes.
The board meeting?
Within the board meeting, they want each of these 3 priorities, however, with EC's input for me to plan for a study session within a board meeting to work on a board priority. And I was surprised, and then it was suggested to me that I can get the input of the executive committee, and that item will come up soon enough. It is item F in today's agenda, so we can discuss that later. But coming back to the board priorities, tying with the budget here, based on the priorities, emergency preparedness, response, recovery. I've been talking with the county folks. I've spoken with a couple of city managers, emergency managers. That's the event that is most likely going to be. It makes sense. That's what I'm working towards. Do we want to charge ticket sales for that to educate all council
I would
members?
say no. So the summer
That's fine.
event
Yeah.
historically has been a free event.
Okay.
except for people that are not part of the organization. So they're not city managers or council members or city staff. So if they're member cities, then it's fine.
Mhm.
But and of course, guests from the county or whoever, but ultimately it's, if they want to be there, great. If they sponsor, fine, they get seats. Otherwise, they have to pay.
So all council members, city managers, and or other executive staff is free?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm,
Yes,
okay.
and that's the weirdness.
So then should I put 0?
Yes,
Okay.
Historically, that's what we have done.
yes.
Okay, and that's why I brought up the priority, because especially this year, even though 3,000 has been accounted for, next year could be something equally important.
But this is reflecting
Next year,
this, no, FY 26.
Yes, it's
Correct.
reflecting this year.
Yeah.
correct. I understand the word
So,
priority.
so Shelley, you can't change it to 0 because you have budgeted 3,000. It will, when the actuals come, show 0,
Right.
Yes,
which is fine.
Correct.
Which is fine, but if this. So the 0 is in the 4,000 one, right?
The 4,000 and the
Yeah.
3,000.
so the 3,000 we can't change.
Right.
But effectively, we will account for that at the end of the year, which
Yes.
means the
Yes.
overage would be less than what we are seeing today at
Yes.
almost 49.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'll immediately come down.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to stay focused on the budget there. Other thoughts on the budget?
If you're thinking to have these rather involved study sessions, are there people that you would want to have come and present who maybe would possibly probably that might be helpful, the topic, a subject matter expert, some sort of consultant.
Oh, I like that. Somebody, you mean in
They
Cape
might
Travel?
also be willing to offer it as, an contribution that I would hate for you to not have any resources for it and have a really good idea for, oh, this is something that could be quite collaborative, but if there's nobody to help facilitate providing you with information, then it can be frustrating.
So you're saying even for fiscal year 27, we keep the 4K there?
No. I'm talking about the
This year,
the
June
the
22nd.
No, the two you're talking about for for right now, you're talking about an issue where we're interested in doing study sessions at the board,
Uh-huh,
right?
uh-huh.
So it could be beneficial to have some budget for a third-party consultant who could present on the topic.
As a brand new line item under hospitality and special events.
I don't know where I would want to put it.
Okay.
Or just a general, actually maybe adding that to the budget in general, having a speaker honorarium.
Or
And maybe
something-
we use it, maybe we don't use it on a
Yeah.
specific.
What is going on in Sunnyvale?
Put that line item.
You add a new item,
I'm sorry?
you add a new item.
No, but would it go under office professional maybe under professional services?
It could fit there. or it could be-
Hospitality and special events.
It could be, yeah, it could also be an hospitality.
Excuse me, Shali. I just want to let you know that on our end, there's sort of intermittent interruptions in the broadcast.
Yes.
Okay.
Are
we're
you
seeing-
are you hearing us and losing video, or are you not hearing us at all?
We see one of those spinning circles of death with no audio or video
Okay,
momentarily.
okay. Thank
And
you.
it is only a few seconds typically speaking.
Yeah,
Right.
so IT is standing by waiting for that, but we will stop from now on when we see that.
Okay.
So let's just recap what we said. Conceivably adding an honorarium, $2,000 conceivably for a speaker, which would include a conceivably one-night hotel and some sort of honorarium. Not sure whether or not we would use it, but conceivably it's added as far as that's concerned. And just to make sure, we talked about the summer event will be free for all members. And if we have income coming in from that for non-members that want to attend, I wouldn't put it into the budget because we don't know, depending on the topic, whether or not they want to pay.
So we have done three things. One is make the dues slightly less, and the other two you just mentioned. Those are the three.
Yep.
Other changes to the proposed budget?
So the clerk and IT support, this is your assistant.
I maybe we have to rename that person to be more support staff, but yes, that's that person.
Okay.
We can't call it staff, can we?
No,
Because
no, not, I didn't mean staff.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Oh, I see what you're.
Right. Okay.
The word staff,
Administrative.
whatever, just avoid staff. I think that's what legal, correct, Andrew? We don't have staff. Yeah, he's nodding.
That is correct. We do not have staff. We just have independent contractors,
Okay,
such as myself and Shali.
so we rename that. Thank you. Other thoughts, comments?
We're renaming it to what, I'm sorry.
Is it necessary? I mean, you know what it is.
Yeah. I just want to find out what it was.
That's
I
fine.
wanted to clarify. That's all good.
I think you can just call that person clerk.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
the other cities have, and the board of supervisors, the county has clerks,
Okay,
meeting support, clerk and meeting support.
I'm open to that. Let's keep moving. Okay, so has this gone to the City Managers Association?
I sent it to them today.
You sent it today, so they haven't had a meeting to discuss this yet. Okay, just wanted to make sure we get that on the record. Other thoughts? None? Public comment? Close public comment?
Hold on,
Bringing it back to the committee. I need a motion. I believe we talked of three things. Do I have a motion?
I would so move with the three items that were discussed.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other thoughts? None? Let's have a vote, please.
sorry. Okay, motion to amend, is that the right word? The proposed. The draft proposed budget, to include the three changes, which I will say bringing down the remainder. Huh?
You don't need to read
There's
it.
three, oh, thank you. Was made by Kame, seconded by Scazola. Rosemary Kame,
Aye.
Larry Klein,
Aye.
Tina Walia,
Aye.
Gerard Fruin,
Aye.
Elliot Scazola.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Wonderful. Moving on to item, sorry, I got the wrong agenda. Moving on to item E, proposed record retention policy. There's a discussion item. And Andrew, our co-general counsel, is going to be providing the report.
Thank you very much, President. So I'll be very brief. Obviously, we have a detailed category, detailed calendar of potential retention requirements in the packet. Your specific feedback would certainly be very helpful and appreciated, but I did want to provide some broader context as well. So as sort of general parameters to keep in mind, we are proposing that the policy first of all just cover any records that are created or are of existence as of the formation of the GAPA, and not go back in sort of the older universe of documents that may have been related to the earlier iteration of the city association as an unincorporated association. Secondly, one of the big philosophies or approaches we want to undertake here is to make sure that we have a paperless record retention system. Some of you may recall that we had a storage unit down south for many, many years that became, frankly, a little bit of accumulation of junk and unneeded materials. I think we certainly want to avoid that going forward. And third, I just want to emphasize that our website, while will undoubtedly be a very useful source of information for us and for the public, the website is not intended to be a record retention system. We will establish something separate. You know, we don't necessarily need to put those details in the policy, but something along the lines of OneDrive or Google Drive, where it will be accessible to multiple folks working with the Cities Association, but again, be sort of a stable, paperless, and hopefully easily accessible archive of materials that we want to keep. So those are the general approaches. I did want to let you, in terms of background, we did look at the Los Gatos record management policy and also the record retention policies for the SVCE and SVRIA, since they are somewhat sister JPAs that you are also familiar with, of course. So we did try to pull a little bit from here and there, but certainly, again, any specific feedback is more than welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for the great report, especially in the staff packet, the agenda packet. Questions? Public comment?
No one online?
Okay, close public comment, bring it back to the committee. Do I have a motion? Do we need to give direction to bring this to the board, right? Because-
You may, or it's simply already included in the draft agenda, I assume, for the board.
Okay,
So if you don't have any changes, we can just bring it to the board.
okay, great.
Some
Super.
changes.
Let's move on to item number F for Frank, which is board priorities process. This is the discussion item where I need to gather input from the executive committee regarding the proposed study session format to gather board input on board priorities as was recommended by the board at the February board meeting. Any thoughts? Yeah,
As I was saying, I think it might be helpful to have a third-party facilitator for each of the topics, or a subject matter expert who can help you work through the issues.
okay,
Because you'll need some way also of defining what it is that you're going to talk about on each of the subjects at hand.
yes, great point. Here is my challenge. With the turnaround time, I already had speakers lined up for March. And even tentatively for April, I have a little wiggle room, which I have used, not too much wiggle room, and we can talk about that in the board agenda as well, coming shortly here. How do you propose I manage the March meeting? Do I get, and that leads to, there has to be something leading up, because I'm suddenly having to pivot from the way these board meetings and the summer events have been handled in the past. I haven't finalized the summer event, but I'm working on it. I will likely not be able to finalize that by agenda posting for the March board meeting. So one option that I was considering was, I do like your idea, really. But one option I was considering was maybe give some questions, send ahead of time to the board so that we get their input. They wanted to discuss. Rosemary, you were at the board meeting. They're like, we want to discuss what's happening in our city. Maybe send them something ahead of time. I don't know. So,
I think you have to pick a specific topic.
okay,
So that you've got a focus to it.
yeah,
And then if you know, the way that this would work for any of our cities is that it would be some sort of referral that we've made to staff so that they can bring it to us for input for the development, either for our own edification so that we can make better decisions, or for input for some sort of policy change that you're going to make, and then you provide them with some direction on what to come back with at a later date. Presumably, we're not doing that second thing, so this is mostly going to be an idea sharing and educational affair. But I think that means that you probably give the other board members homework so that they've got something to present. Otherwise, it kind of just sits on you to craft something for everyone to talk about. And my biggest fear, if you follow that method, is that you just make a presentation and then nobody says anything, or they say things that are tangential at best.
right.
So there needs, maybe there's a series of questions that we could put out to them to have them answer on that one topic. And then, you know, you can do a round robin on it or something like that. And that's where I think that some sort of subject matter expert on hand might be helpful, if you can find one in time.
Okay, if not March, certainly we can strive to do that for April board meeting. Even though April has a lot of budget related items, I was looking at the governance calendar. That's the challenge. So on the emergency preparedness, I can share with you, I have spoken with the county Department of EOC. June 11th is tricky because it's literally FIFA time.
Yep.
But they can either do for the June event, there is a class for elected officials. I think it's called IC 402 or something like that. The Emergency Managers Association has a board meeting coming up on Monday, 2 days from now. They will discuss there and see what can they think of that council members and mayors can benefit across it's a regional approach. What is helpful regionally for us to be better prepared? That's one idea that I'm exploring. And then leading up to that, maybe they can present a little bit in March to get started if we can't get any other subject matter expert, if their board approves. Or we can have nonprofit organizations for recovery, or I have spoken with a lot and I'm going to get feedback next week.
So it was emergency preparedness. What were the other two topics?
This was clearly the winner,
Okay.
the big winner. And after that, there was a tie at number 2, quite a few votes below this, 3 items tied. E-bikes, e-scooters, and the second one was public safety, and a different item, flock cameras, was rolled into public safety. And the fourth one, those are the 3 that the board chose to work on. And the fourth one was state advocacy, and that they agreed, but I suggested that that's pretty much lax work.
Yeah.
And so the board agreed that, okay, we can give that to LAC. So those are the top 3, but very clear winner with number 1 for emergency Rosemary.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of discussion on those priorities. The thing about it is that we have limited time, right?
Yes.
So I think that we need to kind of figure out purpose and what outcome do we want?
Yep.
Because I heard at the last meeting that we get these presentations and their information, what are you gonna do with it, right?
Mhm.
So if there's a way, let's take, for example, emergency preparedness, right? We know that our staff has been with the EOC. If something were to happen, right? I think everybody needs to be informed as to, okay, as an elected official, these are your roles, these are what happens, da, 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 right?
Mhm.
And I know that, in fact, the staff does drills and all kinds of things, right?
Mhm.
So if the purpose is to inform
Mhm.
and have members take that back,
Mhm.
right? I'm just wondering, okay, well, what's missing?
Mhm.
What's missing?
Mhm.
Do they know how it all sort of like works together or not? And I don't know, you have different people who've come on the board and all of that are, some are newbies, some have been around. So I think that we need to figure out what is the purpose and what is the outcome of the 3 topics or whatever that we're thinking of, because then that will inform how you approach it, right? Whether you need an expert, whether you need,
Right.
someone who can say, hey, in Santa Clara County, this is what we can share with you. And this is what you can take back so that the minute that something happens, boom, this is how it gets deployed, right? Some of us who, like the people who are on the SSTPO, that whole group, they know, right? But those of us who maybe are not in those committees and stuff we don't know. We just hope that it all happens the way it's supposed to happen. So I think that if we can kind of figure out what do we want to get out of this, right? And what do we want members to take back to their councils or whatever, right? I think that it would be helpful to then kind of say, okay, how many meetings are left and what can we do in those meetings?
So is that the discussion we have in the March meetings with the board? No.
No,
do we-
I
have
think,
here.
I think we need to
we have
decide.
here.
We need to decide, I
Okay.
think,
Yeah.
so that we
Good.
can start saying, okay, in whenever it is, in April, in September, in whatever, this is what's gonna happen. And then that
Great.
way you have a roadmap of knowing what's gonna happen. Because I think that I heard, in my own opinion, I heard that there is a desire to have greater engagement.
Yes.
How do you engage them in knowing, hey, this is what you may be doing in your city, but look at what's happening with county and with more regional,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Um,
It's an opportunity. I think it's a very engaged board. They want to be hands-on. They want tangible deliverables on each of the three board priorities. ALPRs will become a little challenging. I will leave it at that. Every jurisdiction this week, we are finding even in the media, what's happening because of the complexities of each jurisdiction. So that's anyway not the number one priority.
Right.
So
but I mean,
But that's an easy topic that from ALPRs you can have, and it's best practices. It's Shali reaching out to every city and saying, and county, how many ALPRs do you have? What's your retention policies? Those sorts of things.
yeah,
And
yeah.
right, because it's like it's providing that data because different cities are doing different things. What's the data retention? So to me, that's a useful topic
Yes.
just to have everyone give their input. And some of them have already banned it. That doesn't mean that they're not a good part of that discussion. And I think that would be a very lively hour of comment just on that topic.
Yeah.
And then bringing in either the county sheriff or
Yeah.
I would leave it at the county level, but
Yeah, and I think that having sort of these are the concerns, this is what's worked, this is what people are experiencing, and it's fairly still new, right? So I think that providing sort of the information out there, right? Without judgment, right?
Okay.
And the thing that I would say, Tina, is if you're gonna contain it within the 1 hour time frame, we need to kind of like limit. I mean, maybe we need a clock that
Yep.
says,
Yes.
you know what?
Yes.
You know
Yep.
what?
Yes.
You get 3 minutes and, move on.
right,
No one can dominate the, like half an hour
right.
or
Thank
20 minutes or whatever,
We
right?
want to
Thank
hear,
you.
we want to hear from all the cities.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
I would recommend that you sort of lay the table at the beginning on
Yes,
that topic, so that
Yeah.
as you go into it, here's the expectation for how this portion of the meeting will run.
Yeah, and I think, when Larry had people speaking and then the button goes, right? You just, oh, thank you very much,
Yeah.
right? Or something.
I
right?
had
We need
suggested to
some-
her.
We need something to let people know your time is up, we're gonna
Great.
move on.
Great. I am so happy that that's coming from the committee here to me. Because I had suggested and then we kind of refrained, but that's great to hear. Am I hearing that for the March, we can try to have, if possible, a conversation on ALPR? We'll come to that in a moment
Well,
with the
Or-
March agenda.
or
It's-
it could be anything, it could be any of these.
Could be e-bikes
any
and
of these.
scooters, so for e-bikes and scooters, talking to the sheriff, because I know that they've been looking at what the requirements are and all that, or SBBC on Silicon Valley Bike Coalition, on
Oh, that's
their,
really cool.
on conceivably their take on. So the sheriff has been looking at delimiters or people removing the limiters on scooters and how they they can rev them up to 40 miles per hour when they're supposed to be at 22 or whatever.
Mhm.
So I know that, so contacting the sheriff as far as that's concerned, and from an e-bike standpoint, I don't know from an e-scooter standpoint, but I would touch base with him.
Mhm.
The ALPRs, I think, will be a bigger discussion, but I think you easily have an hour discussion on that. It's just reaching out and getting the data from the different cities. I think that'd be a lively discussion just from conversations I had earlier today at Joint Ventures State of the Valley or Valley Index.
Mhm.
And then emergency preparedness, you're already saying that you're hoping to move that to
Joe,
June, right? Is that unless, what does emergency preparedness stand for here? That was your highest priority. And
But that's the one that they haven't defined. They want it and they haven't defined. And what I
oh,
heard,
so then
I
you,
heard it, they want a study session where they discuss more to define what they want. Is that what you, from that?
I would, maybe, but what I would suggest is that you could probably handle that through a survey.
yeah,
Okay,
that way-
great.
or data,
Yeah.
or
Great.
it's like, what are your what are the topics? And then make it a 10-minute or 15-minute update. Here's the data that we got from everybody who replied.
Okay, great.
I would not only send it to the individual cities, but I would also send it to the city manager.
Every time you hear the owl,
I
stop.
was
Yeah.
gonna say it literally makes it.
Yes.
Yes.
So whenever you hear the owl, stop what you're doing. Okay, we're back.
Thanks.
Thank you.
What were you saying?
Yes, I just wanted to clarify,
That's
when I send it out to the city managers,
Gone through.
is it the request for data or is it the survey on emergency preparedness? Like, what am I requesting? Like, what am I requesting of the city managers? Like, which one of these topics?
Well, on the emergency preparedness, right, I think we need the data of what exists.
What exists?
Yeah, I mean,
What documents are missing, and some of that will come from the Emergency Managers Association next Monday.
But so each of
Yeah.
our cities puts an emergency plan into place. There's a
Yeah.
countywide plan.
Mhm.
Was this going specifically to evacuations? You know, so this is why you need to try to contain this and talk to the board members to figure out what they're really looking at. You can kind of feed them. It's like, are you talking about are you talking about what are you going to do if there's a fire and you need evacuation plan? So because every evacuation plan is separate, but equal because they're all referenced from the county plan at the end of the day.
Yes.
But I don't know what emergency, is it how much water? Is it, it's like, what are the arcs? How many arcs are there per city? There's lots of different ways this could go of how each city's prepared. You have the concept of evacuation versus how much water, how much food each city is preparing for if there's an earthquake or what, we can talk about electricity and microgrids. We can talk about if we lose electricity for an extended period of time, what fire stations are providing battery backup refrigeration for medication. There's some of the things from emergency preparedness standpoint, how the cities are prepared and to deal with the multitude of issues.
Do we want to bring in communications and maybe a drive for more CERT to be trained, more people to be signed up for Alert SCC?
No, well, Alert SCC, CERT is a whole difference between the county and the cities.
Okay.
There's no reason to come to the council members and say, you should sign up more people for CERT.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Alert
a
SCC.
given.
Okay, communication
That's a
and
given.
Alert SCC, okay.
Yeah. But you could also find out which cities are actually using Alert SCC. I don't think, there used to be Nixle, there's Alert SCC, some cities. So this is polling the city managers on what they're doing. Because some cities are, and when they're using those alerts. So they're localized alerts, but ultimately, they're localized alerts, but every city is different on what they alert on. So whether or not it's major emergencies, it's obvious, but some cities do a major traffic accident or, a Caltrain hit a car. And so Sunnyvale Avenue was closed. So it depends, whether or not just traffic or emergency or whatever. So getting a better idea on how they utilize that communication and which communication channel they utilize. And then if people don't have phones, what's the plan? I mean, if people don't have cell phones and text, what's the plan for an aging community that conceivably doesn't have a cell phone? Just throwing out ideas.
Okay. So basically, I can see whatever, if anything can be managed for March. If not, we are looking at April and one meeting each, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think that makes sense.
okay,
And basically make it into, as was said, into a poll. And here's some data, and rank or do whatever for the different topics for especially data for ALPRs, but emergency preparedness. What are these topics really in preparation now for June? What makes sense and what people are interested in hearing?
okay.
And it might be multiple meetings because there's a lot. I spewed out a whole bunch of things.
I was thinking we can do the where I was, but this is a lot for me to work with. Thank you so much. Where my mind was in vacuum by myself, that March and April, we could do some kind of discussions based on polling or questions ahead of time and conversation on emergency preparedness. We get started with the e-bikes in May, and then June is the big event, whatever we can do on emergency. And then by the time August comes, we start working with maybe a model ordinance or a regional approach to the e-bikes, and then going to ALPRs. That was one approach, because ALPRs, there's a lot of moving space, but I also see it's an immediate issue. Somewhere there, just sharing this so that it'll save time under item H, Sam Ricardo's office reached out. They want to come and Sam Rania reached out and is available to have Sam come in person, either in April or in August, with one of these board priorities. And the schedule, I don't know how that'll fit. My conversation with her was prior to the February 12th board meeting. And then I was lining up speakers for the year. I couldn't wait. That is not finalized. And now I'm suddenly having to pivot with all of this and move things. So I might ping one of you offline, because I am discussing with you here, and I can't talk with everyone hitting Brown Act, but with you guys, I've already talked with Andrew and Jan. They said, yes, I can ping you guys after this as it moves. So just sharing that with you here. Okay. Elliot, any comments from you?
No comments, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Open public comment,
No one online has.
closed public comment, go on to item G. Shally, is there anything else? We discussed quite a bit here.
Yeah,
Anything additional?
so we don't have any other speakers who've asked who are in the pipeline.
Okay,
So that's where we stand right now.
Okay.
I know this is a standard agenda item, but that's the update.
okay. I'll just add one more. Based on the prior system, I had lined up MTC that was due for a regional update, and they need more than the 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
I had lined them up, Pat Bird, as one of the earlier speakers, not the 10-minute regional update. I don't know if I should keep that for April or revisiting with the whole formats, everything kind of moving.
Decide in March.
Okay,
We
Thank
don't need a plan for April now.
okay, great.
But
Let him
Art,
know.
but I know Pat Bird wants to speak about MTC and the measures that they're talking about from a regional transportation standpoint.
Yes, okay, so I will let him know that April is only tentative. Okay, super. Moving on to item H, let's go number 1, which is the March 12th Legislative Action Committee draft agenda. And
Yep.
Elliot is there online.
Yes, thank you. So it's obviously still early in the year, fairly early in the year, so not too much of an update. Other than I'm pleased to say that in our brief initial discussions, it appears that LAC members, they're not going in every direction. They didn't bring a bunch of random bills. They were very focused on the priorities that have been set at the board level. So I'm very pleased about that. Sounds like we're getting really efficient when it comes to our priorities, and I love that. And so although still early, I'm watching for any new legislation on those priorities. Obviously, I'll bring that to LAC when it comes to bear. Also, Shally and I are reaching out for this next LAC meeting. We're reaching out in the hopes of having either Senator Becker and or Senator Cortese as speakers. And essentially, they'd be there to, much like Patrick Aaron's before, kind of give an introduction to new LAC members, also sharing their priorities, what their hopes and dreams are for the coming year, and maybe ways that we can help them or they can help us. And that's more or less it at the moment.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, so the deadline for bills to be filed has now passed, so there won't be new things emerging other than perhaps as a gut amend.
Yeah.
Or through the budget process, but a lot of the bills that are sitting out there are spot bills, namely, they tell you that they're going to talk about a particular part of the law, but they make little tiny structural changes to it. They don't really do anything other than make minor textual edits, so you don't necessarily know what the contents of that bill will be. However, over the course of the next couple of weeks, you'll start seeing a lot of those get filled in. One of the ones I do want to bring to your attention, I think that most of the members will at least have interest in watching, is SB 1216 by Senator Christopher Cabaldon. He represents the Senate district that is sort of north of the northern portion of Contra Costa County, Yolo, part of Napa, Sonoma, etc. The bill in question is called the Housing Leadership Designation, and it would allow a city significant amounts of additional local control, specifically over and against the state density bonus law, if they are producing it, or I shouldn't say even if they're producing enough housing, if their ratio of cost of housing to area median income is within the right range. So it's aimed mostly at what housing affordability levels look like in the jurisdiction in question. I think it's worth your time. I think a lot of cities will be interested in turning off parts of the density bonus law, especially if they in fact are achieving affordability standards. So the question here, I think, will be how much do you get to turn off? What makes sense, and then what whether or not these affordability standards are reasonable and achievable.
And
Thank you.
thank you, Vice President Fruin. Your knowledge really is so beneficial to us. I appreciate that. And I guess I should say new-ish bills. Is that the technical word for it?
So how does that relate to the agenda? Like what edit should I make to the agenda?
That would be one of the bills to be examined.
Number 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
May I add one suggestion? If we have time to see if there's any bill which is relevant to the board priorities. I know Elliot already mentioned that, especially with the piece that the board specifically said, which is state advocacy. Because when that doesn't happen in the Legislative Action Committee meeting, quite a few members go from there into the board meeting and they will start asking that question within the board meeting.
Yeah.
That has been my observation in the last 2 meetings. So that would be helpful if somehow that can be addressed, Elliot. Or that you're watching. Or
I really appreciate that. That's great.
Yeah, you were there last time. You saw kind of that.
Yep. A little bit of the spinning of the wheels. Sure.
That's my only comment here. Thank you. Other thoughts? No? Public comment?
No one online has their hand.
Okay, public comment for the whole item. Seeing none, close public comment. Okay, let's move on to the Board of Directors March meeting agenda.
So, just taking one step back, as you can all see, we're trying out a new agenda format. Board members have asked for more detail, actually LAC members as well, have asked for more details and what is expected of them for each agenda item. So that's why we're trying out something new. I changed it. The LAC and the board one, I changed it from the one that Andrew prepared for us for the executive committee. Because you can see in parentheses, it says either action, information only, or discussion. But action to me, just at least on my board, is taking a vote. Right, and so when you see recommended action and then you see action in parentheses, that felt very confusing to me. So I changed it to just recommendation on the board and LAC. And I just want to make sure that that's okay and that it still captures what we want to do. It's the recommendation to the board, receive an update, review the draft proposal, et cetera, et cetera.
Any thoughts on that?
Let me take a look at it.
So is there like information, you have like information here and then in the our agenda, you have information only? Do we need
So I changed it.
to what?
So I'm calling it just information as opposed to information only.
Okay,
So the
so what's the difference on discussion? Discussion
Discussion is
means that
voting
there
on.
could be an action item?
No, so to me, discussion is a discussion. You can provide direction. You don't have to make a motion on providing direction. So that's,
We don't?
at least we don't on our school.
I see your point, Rosemary, because discussion, the way I'm reading this is, and provide direction as needed, which could be an action item when you provide direction.
Right.
Because sometimes direction is without a formal vote, it's easy enough to capture, and sometimes we need a motion.
Yeah, I think that, we ought to be clear as to what we're doing here, because when you start saying, oh, discussion only, I think that in order to, not have ambiguities,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because if
Right.
you open up that door,
Mhm.
then different people have different interpretations of.
Right,
Yes,
right.
yes.
Yeah.
So what do you suggest?
I would do action. So my suggestion. Oh, sorry to jump in.
Go ahead. No, but.
I would just do action and information. And the
That's
only
it.
other thing, never discussion, because everything's discussed.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
And the only one that would be slightly different is ledge action committee update which would have potential action depending, because you don't know what the LAC has done previously.
Mhm.
If they're saying, we want to write a letter, we recommend the board write a letter in favor of or opposed to Bill X. That's an action that the board has to vote on. But before that goes into that meeting, it's potential action. You don't know what's going to happen at the previous meeting. So I would just have action info, and info could have lots of discussion and all that, but there's no action is expected, but lack is always potential action.
Yeah, I think it's wise in LAC to always include potential action on anything that is bill related. Just so that but also for the portion that comes to the board, because we did have one instance where we were able to take a valid vote in LAC, but we couldn't take one at the board because it was noticed differently. So.
Right.
Yeah, it was,
What ended up happening on our other agendas is that everything became discussion and possible action.
Sure, which,
Yeah,
I mean, the
sometimes
discussion
it's
portion is sort of redundant. I think that the model you might want to look at that could be useful for this is BTA. They, put a descriptor next to each one, so it makes it a little bit easier to figure out, am I expected to vote on a thing here, or am I talking?
Okay, this is very helpful. Do you have any feedback on the
Yeah,
format?
so some of them, so for example, we have a guest speaker when the county assessor is speaking. What is the recommendation?
it's information.
Yeah, you received the presentation or whatever else.
And anything that has an information, no motions can be made unless it's agendized to a future meeting.
Yeah.
And if you need something that's sort of in between study session kind of sort of
So I got caught it before it actually hooted, huh?
Yep, thank you.
Okay,
You're welcome.
so what was the study session part?
So I'll give you an example. Let's say that you were discussing a new policy for the organization, right? And you wanted to codify it in the form of a resolution. You might have a study session on what that resolution should contain. That way you're not crafting it right then and there.
Okay,
You provide direction to Shally on what those points are. You could even take votes on those things so that it's really clear. And then she comes back with a draft document later that you do vote on.
okay, that sounds good. Okay, super. Anything else on the format? There are a couple other quick things I want to mention here.
So for example, a study session, then I don't put discussion? Or
Discussion feels like that is innate to everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, everything's.
The discussion word is to be removed.
Yeah, I
Period.
think
I get that, but for some of them, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to.
For what?
Like,
For
for
which ones?
example, the study session.
Which one?
so.
is-
That's its own. That would be its own category,
Okay,
right?
so
So I-
just take out the parentheses.
No, I think take a look at how BTA does
Okay.
theirs. Yeah. They're mostly just listed as an action item or as an informational item. But if you're going to actually try to craft a policy, I would just suggest a study session is probably the mechanism for that. You can more clearly define what's being asked of the body in the recommendation.
Okay. Okay, there's a lot that we have been discussing today. We didn't meet in February, before the February board meeting, and the board has a new idea. So let's move on from the format. Just two quick comments. One is for the March board meeting, we're going to add the LIF resolution here for board approval. That's what we agreed, right? Just double check. Okay, and the other thing is this was already decided, as I said, with the speakers prior to the February board meeting. I had to line them up. So the only change that I'm going to request is like item number 5, if we can get someone or whatever format we were discussing, because here item 5 says emergency preparedness. Of course, the word discussion is to be removed, but that big conversation we had, that's kind of where that item will get tweaked. Right? Just checking.
Yes.
That's the only
Yeah.
thing. That's the only thing. Future meeting topics we discussed, which is item number I. All of this kind of got rolled into one. Do you want to come back? We will need a motion to approve the draft meeting agendas for both Legislative Action Committee and the Board of Directors meeting for March meeting, with enough room for the changes that we have discussed enough number of times today.
Go
ahead. I would so move.
Second,
Second.
let's have a vote, please. I already took public.
Okay, you would, okay,
Yeah.
second by.
Yeah.
Okay, so motion to approve the draft LAC and board agendas with the changes discussed was made by Kamei, seconded by Klein. Tina Walia.
Aye.
Larry Klein.
Aye.
Rosemary Kamei.
Aye.
J.R. Bruin.
Aye.
Elliot Scazola.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item I, future meeting topics, we discussed already under other items. Moving on to number J, Santa Clara County City Managers Association update. As I mentioned, acting city manager for Saratoga, Leslie, is unable to be here today, but just one thing to share with you. She mentioned the City Managers Association was talking and is moving ahead with the Leadership Academy for staff in different cities. Just FYI.
Can I, so we had a meeting today
Uh-huh.
on that committee, and so they've decided to hold that in early March of next year. They're looking at March 25th, which is the 4th Thursday. But I think that since the city managers have been very accommodating and moving it around for us, we may want to, I don't know that we will definitely have our executive committee meetings on the 4th Wednesday. But if we do, then I would recommend that we move it just for that month.
You're talking about the symposium,
Yes.
because I was mentioning something else.
Oh, you
But
were?
that's fine. Yeah, that's
Oh, sorry,
fine.
I thought you were talking about
I
the
skipped
symposium.
that. No, I didn't mention the word symposium. That's fine. You're
Okay.
talking governance symposium.
Yeah,
That's going to be in 2027.
yes, March
Okay.
2027.
That's what she said.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that those are two
Sorry,
separate. No worries. The two separate items. Okay, and move on to item K, executive director update.
Okay. So I don't really have much of an update. I've been working on a lot of stuff. but very excited that the website is moving forward and we have they sent us a set of things to review and they want feedback by next Friday. So they have a nice timeline that just keeps things moving. So
And it includes a logo refresh.
yes, it does.
That's the most exciting part. Besides having a great website soon. And their tentative timeline is they're trying to get it done by May, so that before our June event, we look very professional. That's the exciting part.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, with that, any other comments from anyone? No. Meeting is adjourned at 5:53. Thank you so much
Thank you.
Thank
everyone.
you.
for all your feedback.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you.